morning, Laguna Woods. Thank you for tuning in to Inspiration for Today. Sometimes we have an audience. This is an outstanding audience we have today. I mean, it's just amazing. But that's because they're here. Maybe they heard you were going to be on the show today, Cathy.
Maybe they did. Thank you for coming.
So this is Cathy Villafana.
Yes.
And Cathy is with our social services program in Laguna Woods. And I sure thank you for all you and the others who work with you bring to us. And we're going to meet another one of your coworkers on tomorrow's show, and that'll be awesome too. But Cathy, well, actually, I want to read a verse for the day. This is Inspiration for Today. And I know what Cathy does, and so I found a verse that, for me at least, it sounds like one that's being lived out right in Laguna Woods. Whether or not it's based on this, I don't know. And it's in James chapter 1, verse 27. It says, "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress." To look after widows in their distress. Now, I know, since I pastor a church within Laguna Woods, that we have lots of widows. We also have widowers, but it's just a fact of life that we all don't go together at the same time. And so, well, first of all, let's start with what your program is.
Okay. I am the program coordinator for the Friendly Visitor Program at Laguna Woods, and it's in the Social Services Department. So what my role is to connect active members in the community with isolated members in the community. And so they're volunteers, and people who are isolated, it could be because they're recently widowed. It could be that they no longer drive. It could be financially, because of finances, or it could be low vision, hard of hearing, lots of reasons why people are isolated. So what I do is...
That's right. So it's people that are isolated, and that's kind of the key word, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So that the folks you want to serve would be those who just can't get out, or do some of them have people that, let's say, family though, that visits from time to time?
So they may have family members, but they just need more contact with other people.
Yes.
And so volunteers will match up volunteers with them, and so they may not have a strong support system, and so just getting that extra contact with other people in the community is so important.
But they express that need to you, right?
Right.
Or does sometimes do people call in and say, my friend could sure use that? Or?
Yes, it could be a neighbor, it could be the person themselves, it could be a hospital, it could be a daughter, a son. It can come to us a number of ways.
You even could get a referral from, let's say, Saddleback Hospital.
Right, and it could even be a social worker in our social services department. So it can come a number of ways to us.
I love this program. We've tried to do similar things with, from time to time, we've tried a phoning contact.
Like a reassurance call, that sort of thing.
Just where we would call, and we set it up for oftentimes once a week or something, but they hit it off so well they end up calling once a day.
Right. That's so important, that contact, And so with the volunteers, we try to have them visit once a week for an hour or every other week. And really the hope is that person, that over time they're really starting to look forward to seeing that person, so that, really kind of the isolation is, they have something, that they're really looking forward to.
And although I read this verse that had to do with being a widow, you rightly have expanded that, and that's great, because I know that one of the things you didn't mention, but I know it's a factor, is divorce too.
Yeah.
And when actually both end up often alone in that case, but this helps fill that need, and that's why I love it so much.
Right.
So the Friendly Visitor Program, in fact, and you've touched on the two aspects. let's just go over that
Sure.
to be clear. So on the one hand, let's start with uh, the people. If you out there know of someone or yourself, and you just feel lonely or they're isolated, can't get not driving, typically not driving anymore.
They could be driving. They could be driving, and
Oh,
they're kind of self-isolated. Yeah, not everybody's necessarily completely homebound or bedbound. So isolation could be different things to different people.
okay.
So yeah, and they could reach out to us. They can call the social services office, and I believe the flyer is showing.
Yeah, and so the side that the friendly visitor program, they can. Uh, well, how can they? They can call you.
They can
Is
call
that the
our
best way to
department. The
sign up?
best way to contact us is our department, which is 597-4267. And
Okay.
then what I do once I get that referral is I go to their home and I meet them.
Oh,
And what I love to do is find out more about them. And I love to get kind of their story. I want to know where they came from, what they love to do, what they're passionate about, even if they're not doing it, because I want to find out, what their interests are. And
yeah.
then on the volunteer side, when I get a volunteer, I like to meet them and find out the same exact things. So when it comes to matching my volunteers to the participants, find that common connection. How are they going to bond?
That's so great.
Yeah. And
So and so moving over to that then.
yeah.
So if you would be interested in being a part of the friendly visitor program, you would end up talking with Kathy,
Mm-hmm.
and they would call the same number.
Same number, same
And
number. Or stop in the office. We're in the community services building and on the first
and what
floor.
does it take? Requirements?
Um, uh, you don't have to be a volunteer in the past, but just be kind, compassionate.
Resident though, it
Oh
start
yes, a
with.
resident of Laguna Woods, and kind, compassionate, a good listener. And we'd love for you to visit once a week or every other week. And we're going to match you to one person, not visiting different people every time, because we want that bond to develop over
But I
time.
love your sensitivity to safety too, because I see on here that you do need to be fingerprinted, so you
Yeah,
are doing background
yeah,
checks.
yeah.
Which, by the way, don't get scared off by that in any way, because at Saddleback and most all churches today, if you work with children, you get fingerprinted.
Mm-hmm.
And so more and more, that's a standard practice for those who work with the elderly also.
Yeah,
And you are doing that. So
yeah.
I actually applaud you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of our screening process, and after that, then we match you up.
Yeah.
So, and
Great.
we have some great success
Yeah.
stories, and yeah,
I know you do.
yeah.
I just know this is so meaningful to people. I would be remiss a little bit if I didn't say to the folks, though, one of the cures for being needing a friend
Mm-hmm,
and being in isolation also would be coming to church on Sunday,
mm-hmm,
where you will meet your friendly neighbors and
mm-hmm,
friends. And so, also, let me just say this: if you need a way to get to our church, we meet right in your neighborhood in Clubhouse 5. Just call our church number, and it's on the screen at the bottom, or email us, it's also there. And we'll find a way to get you a ride to church. And there's nothing faster, and in my opinion, even better, is to make friends all around you. And you can do both. You
absolutely,
can do both. I know
absolutely.
we
Yeah,
have people who
yeah.
do both. And I'm pretty confident, Kathy, that there'll be a good number of folks who, even from our church, will volunteer to help you with this, because it's right up our alley.
We'd love to hear from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the other services that our social services department has. And we all need to be aware of that. And I know I'm deficient in knowledge in that area myself. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So I'm going to be here. How about you?